Well, welcome to another edition of, I'm going to turn the AC off, that way you don't hear that like any other car, you just hear the road noise. I am headed home to another edition of the take-home edition of Fight Back. This is the time where I get to feel like I'm just talking to myself sometimes, but it's cathartic, and I need that sometimes. So I want, because this subject came up while I was at work with a few people. It actually came up, and it has to do with Don Lemon, and Don Lemon deciding that white men don't need Halloween costumes this year because they are indeed the biggest problem. That they are the nation's number one terror threat, are white men. Well, he says this, in the same breath he says, we have got to stop demonizing people. And then he goes ahead and demonizes a whole third of the population of the country. That includes the guy he's sleeping with. Last I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, in the chat, and I'll open up the chat, that Don Lemon was sleeping with a white dude. His significant other is white, a white male. So this idea that I think is interesting that he puts forth these two ideas that are completely contrary to one another, that we have to stop demonizing people. I can go with that. We do have to stop demonizing people. And we also at some point have to, and then he says right afterwards that we have to stop demonizing people, and that white men are the nation's biggest terror threat. That seems to be a sort of demonizing a whole third of the population, at least a third, right? Don't you think? Over 100 million people, including his significant other and the people who sign his checks, the people he works for. Is he going to come out tonight and say, I wasn't talking about them because they're the good ones? Or is he going to stick by that? I'm curious as to what his employers, who are white men, think about being the nation's number one terror threat. Oh, and some of them happen to lean right. It is so insane and inane anymore that these people, Don Lemon, Rachel Maddow, Chris Lewis, Chris Lawrence, and some of these people demand to be taken seriously, demand to be treated like journalists, when they can come out with such ridiculous, outrageous things. They can say these ridiculously outrageous things. Why? Because they're pushing the agenda that everybody else is great and white people suck. Well, I'm not going to fall into the trap. I'm not going to fall into the trap that my friend Jesse Lee Peterson has fallen into, where Jesse Lee says, "Oh, I love some white people, but I don't like everybody. I don't love everybody." Let's see if I can. I'm trying. Doesn't work. Okay. Anyway, thanks anyway. But you know what? I don't love everybody. And I'm still, and we're having this conversation, and one of the people that I work with, you know what? And after this conversation, I said, you know what? And because we are in an age where people are being blamed more for what they say than what they actually do, and I think that's a ridiculously dangerous thing to get into, where it is more important what you say than what actually happens. But we've stopped actually blaming the person who commits the crime, like in Pittsburgh. Well, we saw it in Parkland. We saw it in Parkland where Marco Rubio and the NRA have blood on their hands, although they never fired a shot. That because Marco Rubio's campaign, like a lot of campaigns in America, took money from him, from the NRA, that's why he's being held culpable for the death of those 17 people at Stoneman Douglas High School. It's a little bit. It's not even a little bit. It's completely and totally outrageously insane that you move the blame from the person who actually planned the killings, executed the killings, and murdered those people in cold blood. That you remove the responsibility from that person, and you put it on somebody who didn't have anything to do with it for political reasons. That's as crappy a thing as you can do. That's the crappiest thing you can. That's the crappiest thing you can do to the memories of those really good people and those kids. It's the worst possible thing. The best possible thing is to hold the person who actually committed the murders accountable, take them to jail, try them, convict them, and in this guy, because he's in Florida, I think at the end of his rainbow, he's strapped to a gurney with a needle in his arm. That's how that needs to end. Just straight up. That's how that needs to end. And it shouldn't take 30 years. It shouldn't take him longer to go through that process than some of these people that he murdered were alive. The blame doesn't fall on Marco Rubio. It doesn't fall on the NRA. It falls on the person who shot the gun. The person that killed those 11 people in the synagogue in Pittsburgh. It doesn't fall on the rhetoric of Donald Trump. It doesn't fall on the NRA. It doesn't fall on the gun lobby. It doesn't fall on conservatives or Republicans. It falls squarely at the feet of that person. Period. End of story. End of story. Well, anyway, one of the people that I work with were saying, well, I think that, you know what, leaders, you know, when you get a certain position, that you're culpable. Culpable? What the heck is that? Because you're supposed to be able to speak in a manner that nobody of the 330 million people who live in America might frickin' get triggered by something that you say. First of all, that's a ridiculous standard that is impossible, absolutely impossible to live up to. It's not even possible. First of all, because you don't have any idea what might set any of us, of those 330 million people, off. A look, a sigh, something that someone imagines you said, or imagines, you know what, a mannerism to be, and they go off with it. It's an insane standard that can't be lived up to. The fact of the matter is that this teacher, this guy I work with, he doesn't like Trump. Okay, nobody says you had to. But we can be adults in this conversation. And to think that, they say these kind of things and it sets people off. No, it only sets crazy people off. But crazy people were going to go off. Frankly, here's our reality. Crazy people were going to go off anyway. What was the rhetoric that set off Lee Harvey Oswald? What was the rhetoric that set him off to murder a president? What was the rhetoric that set the guy who shot Steve Scalise at the baseball practice? What was the rhetoric then? Was that too Trump's fault? What rhetoric are you talking about? You're talking about Barack Obama saying that if they bring a knife, we bring a gun? That rhetoric? That rhetoric from Maxine Waters that says, get around them, draw a crowd, make a scene, let them know that they're not welcome here. That rhetoric? What violent rhetoric are you talking about? Or the rhetoric that Trump used at a rally the other day when he called one of the Democrat candidates Wacky Jackie. Wacky Jackie. Jesus. Anyway, so tell me if you're on Spreaker, tell me in the chat room. I'll open the chat room. Tell me what kind of rhetoric you're talking about, because I ain't heard it. All of the most violent rhetoric has been from the left. I'm just gonna be honest. All the most violent, get in their face. Eric Holder says, you know what Michelle Obama says, when they go low and the crowd said we go high, he said no. When they go low, we kick them. That's what the new Democrat Party is. And you can hear people in the back going, fight. So is it that rhetoric that's problematical, or is it just that you don't like Trump? And grown ass people, so-called adults, simply can't get to any sort of reasonable, rational discussion, being honest about who and where they are. And I really think that's it. Okay, so you think Trump's an ass. Okay, so you don't like Trump, so you don't like his policies. You think that he's blah 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 whatever. That's okay. But even if you don't like him, you can't assign blame to him or culpability to him that doesn't go there, because that makes you a dick. Sorry, this show's called Fight Back for a reason. I mean, come on now. And just like and you listen to my broadcast, and historically, you know what, assigning every bit of negativity that happened in the country during President Obama's tenure, attaching it to Obama, every bit of ridiculousness that you saw on Facebook or you saw on YouTube, there's comments, well, this is Obama's America. You know what? That makes you a dick too. It's insane, it's inane and ridiculous. It's childish, it's sophomoric to simply say, well, this happened, so it's this guy's fault because of the way he acts. I forgot what he says. Because that simply is this weird transference of a responsibility. You can call it culpability if you want to, but it's blaming Trump or holding Trump responsible in some way for the actions of other people, when you didn't hold Bernie Sanders to the same standard when one of his supporters tried to kill somebody, physically killed somebody with a gun and shot at some U.S. reps and senators. You didn't hold him responsible. You didn't say that some of the language from the Bernie Sanders campaign was such that it could set people off. Nobody's looking at James Cromwell and saying, dude, you gotta back the hell down with if the Democrats don't win, there's going to be blood in the street. What the hell? James Cromwell, you know what? I guess a lot of people know who he is. because y'all watch movies, y'all go ahead and give these Hollywood types money and watch their movies and care about what they do. I don't, because if James Cromwell showed up at my door, I think he's a Jehovah's Witness. I don't know what the heck you want. I don't have any idea who you are. And I really don't. I'm just saying. Maybe I live in a cave. Maybe. But I don't know who he is, so I don't care. But somebody ought to get with that dude and say, you know what, you just can't say that there's going to be blood in the street. That ain't right. If the Democrats don't win, there'll be blood in the street. Well, who's going to put that blood in the street? So if the Democrats don't win and things stay pretty much the same in the House of Representatives and the Senate, what? Republicans are going to start slitting people's throat in the street? Really? Grandma go get her, with her blade out or her 9mm and just run down in the hood and start shooting black people? What the hell do you mean, James Cromwell? What do you mean? What are you talking about? What are you talking about that there'll be blood in the street? So are you saying is that the radical part of the Democrat Party will riot and there'll be violence because they didn't win this time? They didn't take over the Senate or win the House or win some governor's races? What do you mean, James Cromwell, that there'll be blood in the street? What kind of dangerous, irresponsible bullshit rhetoric is that? What are you talking about, dude? Is CNN coming after this guy? Is MSNBC coming after this guy talking about this rhetoric? What's going on there? Is did I miss something? Because I don't know. I'm a black man in America. I had to take my black ass to work. So maybe I didn't hear or see that anybody in Hollywood saying to this actor, this Hollywood type, saying, dude, apologize, back down, back away from the dangerous, violent rhetoric. You may cause somebody to go off. You may cause some mentally ill person to lose their damn mind and start shooting up Republicans. Oh, I know, that's already happened. So where is CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS when somebody shoots into the Volusia County Republican Party office? Where are people saying, hey, get a grip? Where are they? They're not there. Because I'll tell you what other people won't tell you. Because the left, the radical left, wants it. They like seeing it. They'll false flag it. They'll participate in it. They'll initiate it. They want the violence. They do. Which is why when we started seeing more of Antifa, or whatever the hell they're called, you didn't see anybody pushing back against them. They were the anti-fascists. They were the good guys. MSNBC and CNN were trying to convince everybody that Antifa were the good guys. Nobody was saying, hey man, you got to back away from that violent rhetoric of punch a fascist in the face. Right? Actually cheering on physical violence. Nobody was up in arms when that Missouri media teacher, professor, is asking for muscle because there were some student journalists who were trying to get into an area on the student commons that they had perfect right to be. And she asked for muscle. I need some muscle over here. Remember that? Muscle. What's that mean? She needed some guys. She needed some toxic masculinity to physically force these student journalists that went to that school, that went to the University of Missouri, that just wanted to talk to people and do their job and learn about their craft. Oh, no. you can't come here because you may actually see and hear the real bullshit that's going on. And she asked for muscle. Anybody remember that but me? No, of course some of y'all don't remember it. Ladies and gentlemen, I present my case of that the left is the violent one. The left is like the little kid that pokes you and pushes you and prods you and pushes you and pokes you and prods you until you knock the crap out of them. And then they run and tell teacher. Right? That's that kid. That's the left that we're dealing with today. Poke you and prod you and poke you and prod you until somebody decides, yeah, I about had it with you, and you knock the crap out of them, and then they sit there and go, oh my God, I can't believe that you hit me. I can't believe that you're so violent. Why are you so violent? Why? Sorry. Anytime I do Nancy Kerrigan, I gotta put the horse thing in the end, and that's terrible and that's not kind. I know, but it makes me giggle. So it's absolutely positively insane. So I like to leave you with a solution. If you're on the right, if you're a conservative or a Republican, keep your wits about you at all times and stay strapped. Freaking stay strapped. If you can carry where you are, carry. I'm just saying. I'm serious. I am totally serious. If it is legal for you to carry, you know what I'm talking about? Where you are, carry. Follow the rules to the T. Follow the rules. Follow the spirit of the laws to the nth. Carry. Get trained up and carry. Keep yourself, your friends, and your family safe. Because there are degenerates on the left that are going to be set off by some of the violent rhetoric that comes from people like Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Don Lemon, at all. So I think it's going to be super important to keep yourself safe. That's my suggestion to you. All right, listen. I gave you 23 minutes of my best stuff. Listen, if you got any questions, send me an email, wls860@gmail.com. That's wls860@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at RBM Show. You can follow me on Twitter at RBM Show. You can follow me on Twitter at RBM Show. You can follow me on Instagram at Fightback Media. You can follow me on Facebook at Fightback Media. I'd love to hear from you. Love to talk to you. You can go to our website and contact me from there, fightbackmedia.com. Ladies and gentlemen, keep your wits about you. Stay safe. Till I see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Peace.